Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody here and call this meeting to order. Today is November 3rd, 2022. Time is 6 o'clock. Could you please stand and salute the flag with me? Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Are there any changes to the agenda?
We do have one change, which is item 6.1. We're going to move to December 1st. Planning Commissioner Sarah Pruitt would like to be present when that item's on the agenda. And then I just wanted to point out for 5.5 that police technician Daniel Salceda is present. If you had an interest in pulling that item to ask him any questions, he is here. And then I just want to point out that our new finance director started yesterday. So Mai is sitting right over there, and she is our new finance director.
Well, welcome aboard, Maya. Would you like to say anything? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but.
Yes. I like her.
I gotcha.
Please forgive me. This is my first time, so I don't really know my manners. So
Okay, no, you're fine. You're fine.
I just want to thank everyone for this opportunity. And I am very happy to be here. It's only been 2 days, but I have seen a lot in 2 days in regards to how big this family is. And I really love the organizational behavior that we have here, where it's very family oriented. And I hope that the 18 years of public background that I have will help the community and also the city of Coalinga.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, council, do you want to accept the agenda as stated?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the changes to 6.1.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
I also vote aye. Next, we have awards presentation, appointments, and proclamations. We have a proclamation. Is anybody here from the family court? Okay, we might hold off on that for a few minutes to see if they come in, and then we'll do it later in the time. We were supposed to have somebody here. Okay, next we'll have citizens' comments, number 3. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the city council on any item within the jurisdiction of the council. Members of the public, when recognized by the mayor, should come forward to the lectern, identify themselves, use the microphone. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the city council this evening, and all items will be referred to staff for a follow-up and report. Citizens' comments submitted in writing to the city clerk by 5 o'clock on the day of the city council meeting shall be distributed to the city council and included in the record. However, they will not be read. Is there anybody who would like to address the council? Scott?
Scott Netherton, Coalinga Chamber of Commerce, Union Mayor and Council. Just wanted to do a follow-up on Coalinga Fest this past Saturday. As far as I felt by the end of it, it was a huge success. Very minimal issues. The power was great. We didn't have any issues there. We do have a lighting issue down at the far end of the library that we'll be addressing for the next event. But overall, we ended up with 76 vendors. The Trunk for Treats line was down the block. I mean, huge. And it seemed like everybody had a great time. And those of you that came, participate, I just want to say thank you. We have several upcoming events tomorrow at 9:30 at Sea Skies Shelter at 192 East Elm, right beside Ron's Barbershop. We're having a ribbon cutting for the Sea Sky and Shelter, the new business in town. They're asking everybody to arrive about 9:30 that can come, and the ribbon cutting will be about 10. Both Autumn and Tina will both be there to greet everybody, and there will be refreshments, so that should help. Kalinga Canine Foundation is hosting their annual fundraising dinner on November 12th. I know they're having an issue with ticket sales right now with everything that's been going on in the community the last month really. So if anybody hasn't got theirs yet, it's on November 12th. Happy hour starts at 4 o'clock. It's at the Keck Community Center. They're having a canine demonstration at 4:30, dinner served at 5 by Salty Pickle. They have some tremendous auction items. I mean, a private tour, SoFi Stadium down in LA, a lot of sports memorabilia, a lot going on. So if you can, tickets are $80 per person. 100% of the proceeds go to help take care of Nitro, our new canine. As far as the chamber, we have 2 things that end off this year coming up. The Chamber Annual Holiday Boutique is on Saturday, November 26th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the CHS Hub. And then our final event of the year is the Let Your Light Shine Christmas Parade a week later, December 3rd at 6 p.m. down in the plaza. So a great 2022, and I just want to say thank to the council, city, everybody for your support. We couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Is there anybody else? Mary?
Mary Jones, District 1. I wasn't planning to say anything, but last weekend was just a wonderful, wonderful time, and the people of Kalinga and anybody else who attended, they just were very happy, lots of families, and it was just a wonderful day. And I didn't even get a chance to look around. I didn't get to take any meandering strolls to see what there was, but people were really happy with it. So good job to everybody who participated. Now my grumpy comment, I'm speaking on the behalf of many people who keep asking me, because I'm supposed to know. They are curious about the people who are enjoying luscious green lawns while they have let their lawns die. And they have noted to me, this is not just my comment, like I'm saying, I'm sharing what the people are saying, is that it tends to be affluent neighborhoods, and their idea is that because they have nicer homes, they deserve to have nicer lawns, and the city's not doing anything. So I just want to let you know that that's a problem for a lot of residents who feel that they've sacrificed and they don't see anybody. It's like when you're on the freeway, you get a ticket and you see everybody else, you go, what about them? So, I'm just passing that along. I don't know what the data is on that, but there's a lot of unhappy brown-lawned people. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss?
My name is Fern Corey, and I'm here representing my daughter again. The question here is, what is happening with the water? I know a lot of neighbors are getting upset, but my daughter is very concerned. She doesn't know what's going on. I'm trying to, let her know, but I don't know what's going on either. As Mary had said, there are a lot of people running sprinkler systems, watering all their trees. Me personally, I don't think it's fair. If we're gonna run out of drinking water to survive, why should somebody water 20 trees in their backyard and 10 in their front yard? I don't think that's very fair for a lot of people that don't water at all, because we're trying to preserve. So my question is, what's gonna happen with Coalinga's water? What is the plan to help other residents in the city, all the residents in the city? What is going on in the future, and what do we, as citizens, what do we have to do?
So typically, the council doesn't respond to public comment, but if
Right,
you're
I
going to
just
be here
want-
until the end of the meeting, just hang out, and then I'll answer all your questions for you.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Have a nice holiday.
Thank you. Back in the back.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Johnson with Midstate Realty, and I'm here in regards to number 9, the request for proposal of real estate firm to serve under contract with the city and Midstate Realty's contract. Tanya Stevens couldn't be here tonight as she has a previous open house that was already scheduled, so she asked if I would come and read this letter that you all have a copy of. It says, "Hi Shannon, is it possible for you to read this at the meeting tonight regarding the RFP? I'm at an open house that was scheduled before I was aware of tonight's agenda item. I would like to apologize for not being there in person, although I will be listening via YouTube." And she is, because she just asked if I was up yet. I understand the council wanting a proposal from other brokers if there was several more properties or if the properties were straight purchases and sales. The truth to the matter is that the majority of the transactions have been extremely time-consuming, complicated, and I recently closed one that had been in escrow for 6 years. My commission did not increase, but the workload certainly did. Council needs to be aware of the process and time it will take to teach the new broker the complexities of working on former RDA properties and the paperwork involved. Does the city really have the money and the manpower to do that at this point? There is currently the lot on Elm across from Ron's Barbershop, which actually consists of 3 APNs, and the parcel on Cherry and Locust, which can only be sold to low-income or moderate housing builders. Not an easy task, and we are only just recently notified of this. Those are 2 of the properties the city still has for sale at this point. We have successfully sold and closed all other properties. I feel I have done an exceptional job on marketing and selling the city's properties. I have also made myself available. Councilmember Atkinson has reached out to me on numerous occasions via phone, calls, and text, as well as Councilman Ramsey and several people at the city, including the city engineer. At the very least, I feel the council needs to strongly evaluate their selection process of brokers who are local, meaning brick and mortar brokers. It's not easy owning a business in a small town. Being involved, donating back with time and money is important. It's what keeps a town going. My office is at nearly every event, fundraiser, and donating to most every cause. We sponsor team after team and kid after kid, not to mention city and chamber fundraisers. By using a broker out of town, you only hurt our town even more. I have paid business license fees every year since 2003, and as of last year, the city is requiring a paid business license from each of agents. How much is the city getting from the out-of-town brokers? How many years have they paid? How much do they give back in our community? There are 4 brokers in town. If council is looking for an RFP, request it from the local business and support local. Not because I can't go up against out-of-town broker or out-of-area brokers, my track record proves that, but because I believe in our town and the people in business that work hard to support it. I strongly encourage all council members to consider their decision wisely. Thank you very much, Tanya Stevens. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, seeing none. We'll go to item number 4, public hearings. We have none. Next, we have consent calendar. We have 10 items. Is there anything that council would like to pull?
I'm gonna pull number 9 just so, where'd she go? In the back, there you are. I'll pull number 9 just so I can tell you why I'd like to see that on here.
Anybody else like to pull anything? Is there anything that the audience would like to pull and talk about?
Did you talk about number 5? Are you going to, you're going to address that separately, or?
Okay, we can pull that out.
Well, I was just wondering. I don't have to hear it.
No, we can pull it. Go ahead. Okay,
I'm gonna start with 5.
yeah. Is there any other ones? Okay, thank you. We'll go start with 5.
Did you have a specific question about number 5, Mary?
Well, he's here, right? I'm guessing that.
You want to put him on the spot?
It'd be nice if he's, like, just stood up and introduced himself and said something.
You ready, Daniel?
I mean, Monty shouldn't be the only
Like they said, we're all family.
My name is Daniel Salsita. As it says up there, I'm a police tech. I do dispatch. I've been dispatching since last June, so a little over a year, probably coming up on a year and a half. Throughout the time, I plan on being a police officer, so I know the city has sponsored people in the past. So over the last probably about 6 months, it's something that I've kept in mind. As my age, obviously, as I was getting older, I'm coming up on the academy, and it's something that I started putting myself through. Once I kind of got to there, reality started hitting, the funds and money and bills and pretty much life. So I talked to Chief and kind of just said, like, hey, I know we've put Officer Cease and Officer Kaiser through. They love it. Kaiser was a dispatcher. He actually trained me, so it's kind of a little on a more personal level. And just kind of told him, like, hey, what can we do? You know, I would appreciate it. I'm around, you know, the sergeants all the time, all the colleagues. I love what they do. I want to do it, not just any police department, but alongside them. I want to do it for Coalinga. I have a connection here. I grew up here. My dad was an officer here for about 11, 12 years. My mom, my stepmom, she was in the city for probably around the same time. So I'd like to continue the legacy for a department that's meaningful. And so now we're here.
And I will add that I think everybody who knows Daniel can say that he's a great employee, and you have 2 sergeants who appear to be off duty who are here in their personal time to support this item.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, any questions? Thank you very much.
All right, appreciate
Good
it.
luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Daniel. Your dad's a great guy.
Okay, we'll go to item number 9. It says direct staff to issue a request for proposal, an RFP for a real estate firm to serve under contract with the city as the city real estate agent for all real estate transactions.
Right, so the reason why I bring this up is because I want some kind of transparency when it comes to things like this. Instead of automatically renewing contracts year and year and year again, there needs to be an open process for the taxpayers. The taxpayers are the one who are footing the bill for this. So if we just keep renewing contracts without letting other businesses or anything else come in, it starts to make us look like we're a little bit corrupt. It starts to make us look like it's rigged and like it's a little dirty, in my opinion. So I'd like to see it opened up to everybody. I'm not saying at all that I would not vote for Tanya. Tanya's great. She answers my questions every time I text her. She answers my phone calls every time I call her. She's wonderful. I would probably vote for her. I'm probably going to vote for her. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I'd like to see it open up, and it's worth it to the taxpayers to see an open process for something like this instead of us just renewing a contract year after year after year after year. That's why I'm doing it. No other reason. So I just want to let everyone know that.
Okay. Just to counter to that, Tanya has worked for the city for a number of years, and it does take a lot to know all the history. And this has come up very many times to go out for a proposal. But Tanya's been doing a great job for us. She has 2 more properties to go. And I think we ought to go ahead and keep her for these 2 more. And we've been open the whole time. We've told everybody why we're keeping them, and we haven't had any repercussions on it at all. So I would like to pull this item by itself and vote for it separately on the consent calendar. Anybody else like to say anything? Okay, with that, would anybody like to make a motion on anything for the consent calendar? Yeah, we'll wait for, we'll do number 1 through 10, leaving out number 9. We'll do number 9 at the end.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar minus number 9.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Horn,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Councilman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Mayor Ramsey.
Aye. Okay, we'll go to item number 9. Anybody like to make a motion?
Well, just let me say, if you're not gonna open this up to other local companies, it looks really bad. I know Tanya's doing a great job, but imagine from the taxpayer's perspective that you're not gonna open it up to these local companies who are also here in Coalinga. You're gonna say, we don't care about you, we're gonna go with this. It looks bad. Open it up to everybody. I'm not saying I'm not gonna vote for Tanya. She's done a fantastic job. But when we have these other broker companies out here, and you're telling them, no, you need not apply. Don't apply here because we're already gonna do this. Her contract's up, but you don't need to apply. That looks really bad on council.
So when is her contract up?
I believe it's December of this year.
This December?
It's December 31st.
And so it automatically went into renewal every time?
No, so, well, typically what would happen is we put an item on the agenda for the December meeting to renew it.
And so nobody has questioned or applied for that? Just
Well, we would have to do an RFP for anyone to
Right.
submit a
So, but
proposal, and we
we've
have
never
not
done
done
one
one since 2010.
since 2010?
I mean, that's 12.
How long are the contracts for? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years?
They're annual.
Okay.
What if there is a local company who wants to try and get in on this? I mean, what is it that we're telling them? Too bad?
I think it should be opened, even though the work she's done is great. But that just doesn't mean that you can monopolize it into one individual. I mean, and we do it every year. It's just, 12 years has gone by. We haven't. We should have, way back when we initially started, every year go into it again and get other candidates that may want to apply for it. I mean, I know what you're saying, that she's done a great job, and she has, 2 more properties to go? But if you put that on hold, how long will it be for those 2 properties are sold? I don't think it's fair to wait. And even though I don't want to agree with this guy, but it does fit the bill. Open it up, and if she wins it, that's another year down to go ahead and keep trying to sell. But I mean, you just can't just have just one person doing one thing. That just doesn't sound right.
Okay, gentlemen, what would you like to do? We have a question, Mary?
I'm still Mary Jones. Just for a little perspective, every year, or however often the contract comes up, you have a fire, the guy that checks all the fire alarms and all that stuff. And I don't think that's been open for anyone else. I mean, because I know someone in town, not a company from Fresno, who has applied for that, or who's wanted to serve, and he's been told no for about 8 years in a row. Like, it's not even considered as far as we know. So, and it doesn't, Adam is right, it doesn't look good. Because this person said, why should he even bother? Because he's just gonna get the same answer. And that's a local person with a good reputation who never gets any consideration,
No,
as far
I
as
know.
I know.
I
know exactly
I did put in for bids about a month and a half to 2 months ago, because we have a local person here, to see if it compares, if it's cheaper. I think they have to be within a certain percentage,
Right.
and then we can actually accept it. So we're just waiting for that estimate.
But I'm just, good, I'm glad to hear that, because in the past, it didn't work out. So, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve number 9.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Atkinson,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Singleton,
Aye.
Councilman Horn,
No.
Councilman Ramirez,
No, and the only reason is the time. I mean, next time when it does come up to get renewed, I think if there's any other companies want to come in, I think they should start applying.
Mayor Ramsey.
I vote no. Okay, we'll go to ordinance, number 6, ordinance presentation, discussion of potential action items. We have one item, presentation of GX broadband ranch Wi-Fi related to potentially corroborating with the city to pursue CPUC LATA grant funds to create a broadband strategic plan for the city of Coalinga and discussion, direction, and potential action. Sean?
Thank you. I'll just do a quick introduction. So staff was approached by Ranch Wi-Fi to look at a funding opportunity for a broadband strategic plan. Ken Dickerson, who's a representative of Ranch Wi-Fi, is here. Staff tonight has no recommendation. This was merely an opportunity for Ranch Wi-Fi to present to the council a potential funding opportunity for this strategic plan, and then any kind of direction or that council wants to provide staff moving forward. Staff would take that into, we'd move on that depending on how the council would like to proceed tonight. So I will leave it up to Ken to come up and explain the program to you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to present to the City Council, and my name is Ken Dickerson, and I'm here representing GX Broadband Ranch Wi-Fi, which is owned by Benjamin Corman. Ben presented to you all in 2019, just before COVID, interested to help the City of Coalinga provide service for the underserved and unserved members. After COVID happened, then this infrastructure bill came through, and it provides funding through the California Public Utilities Commission to provide for the first step in the process, which is to design the broadband network. So it would be creating a strategic broadband plan for the City of Coalinga. And I wanted to thank Sean Brewer and Christy Anderson for helping organize my opportunity to give this presentation. So at this time, there was $50 million allotted through the Federal Infrastructure Plan to the California Public Utilities Commission. As of October 27th, there was a little less than $12 million of it remaining. What it provides for is up to $500,000 per year for up to 2 years. And most of the grants, the majority of grants have been $500,000 for a 1-year process of conducting the engineering design studies that would basically be the blueprints for providing broadband at a rate of 100 megabytes per second upload and download. To be perfectly clear, all this grant money covers is the design plan or a strategic plan for the City of Coalinga to create what would be considered an open access network. In the next phases, there's $750 million in the state of California to provide what's called middle mile funds to bring the service to an area. And then there's going to be $2 billion, $2 billion allocated to provide what's called the last mile, and that will actually be installing the fiber. How will the fiber be installed? It is theorized that the fiber grants will be weighted towards the communities that have a strategic plan in place. In other words, have already done the design work and know what the steps would be to achieve successful implementation of a broadband network. This network will be fiber as opposed to Wi-Fi or other systems, although ultimately Wi-Fi and other systems may be identified for areas that would be cost prohibitive to lay the fiber. I'm here tonight to seek to understand what it is that the City Council would need to approve such an opportunity, and to make clear that the city itself is the entity that receives the funding. What we're proposing to be is the contractor who would organize basically the steps of the plan being implemented. We've got, the grant funding also includes up to 15% of the total grant, or in the case of a $500,000 grant, $75,000 of indirect costs for administering the grant. The grant actually is effectively the submission of a series of bids by the contractors, identifying who will do what and by when they will do it. As they complete each step, those are considered work products. When those work products are presented, then the funds come through to basically reimburse or cover the costs of this design process. The design itself will not create any costs for the city of Coalinga itself. All of the aspects are covered, including this 15% of indirect funds for administering the grant. There's a lot more that I could tell you, but I think I'll pause at this point to see if there's any questions or concerns that I might be able to address.
Council?
Yeah, I got a couple questions, but the main one is the existing company that we do have, how will this benefit them so they can expand, or will it?
The answer would be yes, it would provide the opportunity for any existing companies to expand. What it would do is line up the city of Coalinga to basically be in the best position to access the ultimate funds for the laying of the fiber.
Right, so it's pretty much just an outline of what the actual infrastructure would be for the best outcome for that company?
It would be, what would be the best outcome for the city of Coalinga, and the specific term that is used in this end of things is it creates an open access network, which the city of Coalinga then decides who or whom would be contracting to provide what services. And it gives the opportunity for the city of Coalinga to find what would be the best for the members of the community to deliver the most reliable and highest quality service. And I did want to identify that the minimum standard that's being called for is 100 megabytes per second by 100 megabytes per second. I myself only operate at about 30. And in many instances in rural areas, you're lucky, particularly with satellite, to get 25 by 3. So it creates a whole standard. The important, I'm sorry.
See, right now, mine, I'm running through cable, and I'm getting 180.
Okay.
On it, and it stays that way. It doesn't change unless the power goes out. That's the only time that it changes.
So I would point out that this is a minimum standard, and that was a perfect segue for my next point, is that the design for a fiber network for the city of Coalinga will lay fiber, which will be capable, depending on what the system is at the head end where the signal is sent out and the receiving end, of providing almost limitless level of service. And for instance, it's easy at this point using fiber optic cable to provide a terabyte of service. That is something that once the design is in place and once the fiber is laid, then the city has the opportunity to have existing contractors figure how they could provide the service, or to look at what technologies will come along with this advancement.
Once the fiber is installed, who's the ownership of the fiber?
The fiber would be owned by the entity that is overseeing the process, and so that.
So you guys?
No, the entity that is overseeing the process, the only government agencies, school districts, or tribes qualify as entities. So effectively, in this case, the fiber network would belong to the city of Coalinga.
So we would own it then?
You would own it.
And we have complete control over it?
Complete control over it as an open access network, meaning that you decide who the contractors are that provide the service through your network.
Okay. Now, in doing this, are you, do you have other companies behind you that are pushing this, that are trying to come into town?
Well, as I mentioned, Ben had come to this city council in 2019 before COVID with interest
With the
to
ranch?
help with Ranch Wi-Fi, to help with that. What we have is a network that is capable of conducting the strategic planning, the engineering surveys, the assessments, and basically the routing, for instance, examining public utility poles or rights of way and thoroughfares. This is ultimately the work product that is represented by the strategic plan that the city of Coalinga would generate in collaboration with Ranch Wi-Fi. What the role that we would serve is, one way to look at it, I think, would be that you're the client and owner, and we're the contractor that puts together the plan. We're able to assemble all of the different types of specialties that are necessary to basically provide the blueprint for a broadband plan.
Okay. You guys have any other questions?
This would be all citywide, right?
It would be citywide.
Okay, because I think with, does the city have all-around optic already? I know there's some parts only they have it, right?
No, just around the city itself, or
So-
City Hall itself, we have some,
Yeah.
but I don't even think we own that. I think we just use it. We own everything inside here, but not from the curb on. I don't think we do. Do we have Mary?
I'll just ask it from here and talk really loud. How is that different than what we already have? Which is, I'm not saying we don't need it, but as I understand it, we have fiber optic coming from Fresno that goes to a hub and then goes to the local provider. How is that? How is what you bring in different than that? Is it because it's a single thing that the city would control, and it has more, strength? I'm sorry, I forget, I don't know the words, but.
No, you're doing great. You've actually asked the perfect question, and my answer would be, the difference is that the city doesn't own the feed that comes in.
Okay.
They're able to access it.
And is it faster or broader than what already exists?
What it would be broader, because what it would do is lay fiber to basically to the homes and businesses.
Oh, really? So it's not,
Right.
it doesn't have a hub like it exists right now? Everybody would,
The goal for, so the way that I like to describe it is, in the 1930s, there was the rural electrification project. And then in the 1940s and 50s, there was the design and the installation of the interstate highway network. Under the current infrastructure bill, the idea is to get this fiber optic level of service to underserved and unserved areas.
thank you.
To clarify what this part of the proposal is to do all of the assessment to identify exactly what is the status. You've mentioned you already have 180 megabytes per second provided. So if there are areas that already have that type of service, the cable is already there, and the cable is able to provide higher levels of service as technology advances, those areas may not be the ones to run the fiber to.
Now, is it just fiber optic, or is it partially satellite? Because we've got communities, part of Coalinga, that are up in the hills and just outside of town, and they have no way to get that fiber optic to them. How would you guys manage that?
So this particular grant, the Local Area Technical Assistant Grant, would allow us to assess and to estimate what it would cost to get to every residence or business within the city, that falls within the city limits, that's within the purview of this city council, and then identify alternative plans. But what we're waiting on is for the funding for the actual distribution of the fiber to be, basically the rules to be laid out. What we anticipate is that there will be a price point beyond which other services would need to be provided. So our company, Ranch Wi-Fi, also specializes in being able to provide high levels of service it was Ranch Wi-Fi is the name to provide services to remote places that fiber has not been dropped to. But this study will identify in Coalinga what would be the estimated cost to get to every place, and then based upon that, perhaps some of, depending on what the rules end up being, perhaps some of those places would actually get cables. And what it would do is lay out, for instance, what public utility or right of thoroughfare would be needed to be accessed to reach these places, or what would be involved to reach the most remote places.
Okay, we have a question now.
Cindy?
My name's Cindy, I work for Caluga Broadband. So my question is, so you're just doing the assessing part, so you're just planning, blueprints, so we can do this, we can do this. That's the first stage, that's the first mile.
That's actually the local area technical assistance grant program right now.
So nothing gets done, they just sign a piece of paper, the city of Caluga signs a piece of paper saying they'll hold on to that money.
No. What happens is that the grant is actually the submission of the timeline, and to be clear, it needs to specify who does what,
I read
by
that,
when.
yeah. I was
Okay.
just wondering, yeah, so then the second mile, or the middle mile, you guys would provide that as well?
No. The middle mile is something that the state is doing, and then the last mile is this $2 billion of funds that are anticipated in the next couple of years to be announced to actually lay the fiber. This grant only addresses doing the engineering studies and basically mapping how fiber could be laid in the community and identifying places that might be prohibitively expensive to be able to provide. 500,000 is for each year, up to $1 million for 2 years. We would need to do the survey work to determine whether it would be a 1-year or 2-year grant application. The majority of them.
On the cost of that? Like, how much does it cost?
How much, I'm sorry, what?
Your part of it, the assessing part and the blueprint.
That would be up to $500,000 that you can apply for in a year. And to be clear, in answer to Mr. Horn's question, the network design and then the network that's installed is an open access network. It's owned by the city of
Right,
Coalinga.
Yeah, I understand that, I'm just wondering. So it's for underserved and not served, and it would be point to point is what you're talking about out there, yeah. For the ranchers, basically point to point. So they would own the fiber. So who would come on for the next round? I mean, like, who orchestrates all this? Because they become the grant holders, so they're responsible for all the paperwork. I just wanna understand, is that correct?
I'm sorry, could you restate your question?
So you're on board for this,
Okay.
but they're the grant holder, correct?
They're the entity that receives the grant funding.
Cindy, excuse me, I'm sorry. Would you mind coming up here? That way we can get it on tape, because Shannon will have a bad time trying to get everything on.
For me, my name is Cindy Harrell.
Yes, and then I just need you on record.
Gotcha, yeah. So I kind of did some reading on it, and I'm just trying to understand. So you're proposing that you do this part of it, but they're the grant holders, correct?
So the grant provides for, because most governments don't have the facility to do this survey work.
Right.
It provides for a public-private partnership. But the grants are only distributed to government entities, including school districts
Right.
and Indian
And the
tribes.
tribal, right.
Yeah.
And so, once this part is over, then we go on to that middle mile?
My understanding is the middle mile is happening simultaneously.
That you're the contractor, so you're gonna find somebody to do that, correct?
No. We're only proposing at this point to create the local area plan for the city of Coalinga. Then, and just to be clear, the money is actually distributed as each work product is finished and presented to the city of Coalinga, which the grant is actually basically a timeline of these work product deliverables. And you have within 24 months to complete the grant, but if it's a one-year grant, the timeline would be anticipated to be 12 months to do the survey.
So the first
can I-
part's just the time.
Can I just jump in here real quick? How about, I mean, there is a whole lot here to unpack, especially for us who aren't technically into this. Hear me out. What if we send this back to staff, let them really dive into this, and come back at the next meeting with a recommendation? How does that sound to council?
You got it, Sean.
I know Larry's gonna be able to give us some.
I got another quick question. What's the cost to the city for each part of the process of the grant? Because some of them, they require so much up front before you get the grant to get it back. Is that part of this too?
There is effectively no cost to the city in that the contractors can be paid upon completion of the work. And it also does provide the 15% of the total grant as indirect funds for the city to administer basically the grant, which would be the grant reporting requirements, the paperwork that needs to be filed. And we are interested in seeing the city of Coalinga have this access to these funds. So GX Broadband Ranch Wi-Fi is committed to help make the city of Coalinga achieve this successfully.
Does that cover the cost of the grant writers as well? Is that all included after that, or is that a separate fee as well?
That's correct. What we will be doing is soliciting bids. So Ranch Wi-Fi is actually funding the submission of the grant.
I agree with Adam about holding off till next month. Is there any way that we as a council can get some more information?
Oh, sure.
So we can actually read into it a little bit more to help along with whatever they find out?
Yes, I would be able to provide this grantee administrative manual to you. I would encourage, if there's any way to consider it in the most timely manner that you can achieve. From the last time that we spoke, it went, basically the funds are being applied for and they're disappearing. It went from 50 million to just a little under 12 million, with the average grant being $500,000. So the opportunity window on this is that timeliness is the better part of godliness.
How many other grants are you guys doing like this?
We currently are in, we are confirmed with a partner of the Shandon School District, and I appreciate you bringing that up because it reveals the character of the company that Ben leads. Shandon School District, when COVID happened, almost all of their students are on the subsidized lunch program, meaning that they're all from low-income homes. They actually, when they had to school remotely, these people didn't have access. And what Ben did is he went in and he provided access for all the students, and he didn't get paid for it until 2 years later when basically the subsidized access money happened. The company, and Ben really, he created the company to get the services into areas where people have a difficulty getting the service. And I just would highlight that the demographics on the improvement to economy that happen when people have more universal broadband access at reliable speeds, they tell a story of how important it is for broadband in improving the economic health of, and supporting the economic health of any area.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Council, would you like to do, would you like to wait, or would you like to?
Yeah, Sean's got it covered. Yeah. He'll get back to us, burn some midnight oil.
Okay, we'll go ahead and table this till our next meeting. Then we'll
Okay.
go from there. Thank
So-
you for all your stuff.
Thank you. And just to be
All
clear
the
then,
information.
what was requested was that I would forward the information that would help you digest this, so I can send the grant.
Go ahead and forward it to Sean, and then
Sean.
Sean can give it out to all of us.
Great, I will do so. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, was there any other questions for him from the audience? Okay, thank you. Okay, that pulls us up down to announcements. City Manager, do you have any announcements?
I do. I have two. I just wanted to remind everyone that we only have one city council meeting for the month of November, so our next city council meeting will be on December 1st. And then the second thing is, we do have a lot of Christmas gifts that need to be wrapped for our Christmas gift program. So if you have any high school students that need community service hours, they can contact Shannon. Her email address is sjensen@coalinga.com or 935-1533 extension 113. They can come down after school if they are able to wrap Christmas gifts, and they don't have to know how, because I personally come out and teach them how to wrap a present. And we've also been asked if there's adults who are interested in helping, if that is okay, and that certainly is. So anyone who's interested can contact Shannon.
Okay, before we go to the council, I just wanted to see if there was anybody here from Family Court, since we waited. Okay, we'll go ahead and do this another time then, for the proclamation. Okay, city council members, announcements or reports?
The only thing I got to say is, hopefully everybody comes out and supports the Coalinga High School football team. They're on a run for the Valley. It's one of the first times that we beat Dos Palos, and we're getting in a good seat, so hopefully we get that stadium filled up.
And when is the next game?
This is on Friday. This is on Friday. If we win, depending on the top brackets, we'll host all the playoffs throughout the Valley.
Who are they playing?
Exeter.
Exeter, okay.
Yeah, 7 o'clock is the game, kickoff.
Okay, 7 o'clock Friday.
And no passes, you gotta pay.
Okay.
Yeah, one other thing. And, let me just reiterate the K9 Foundation, because a young man by the name of Brad gave me an email, says that, hey, we need supporters out there for the K9. And that's the same thing as young man said over here. On the 12th of November, be there, bring your money, and see if we can get this K9 thing on the road. And one other thing, we need to give credit where credit is due at this point in time on our water situation. It's a lot of hard work, dedication, phone calls, emails, all that good junk, but that goes to that young man sitting in the corner with that green shirt on. You got to give it to Sean. You got to give it to Larry up in the booth, who also did it, and Dan. I mean, because they're the ones behind the scenes that are making this thing work. I mean, we can visit, do newscasting, but the behind the scenes are the ones that get the credit. I mean, because we didn't know where we would be, and luckily we can end this year off positive with water. Not for your yards, though, okay? And you need to move your yard. If it rains on your yard, we're gonna charge you for that too. Okay, this is what the city does. But no, we appreciate you guys, man. Excellent. And we know it's election time, but good job, man. Good job, Larry, and good job to Mr. Dan.
Okay, I just have one. I want to congratulate the chamber on their Coalinga Fest. It was a great deal. It was solid people almost the whole time. I ended up leaving about 6 o'clock, but how late did you guys go? Till 9? Yeah, so there was 3 more hours, so it was a great program. Thank you. Any future agenda items?
Just one, just as a informational, firefighters, hiring, just open for discussion to what they will be needing. Just informational. We're not gonna put nothing in motion. We just wanna see what they have and what they're going to need coming up, because they are running a little short, but they're handling everything perfectly, though.
You mean like qualifications and
No,
stuff like that? or
you,
just
you gotta,
what we
you
need, what
gotta
we
pay
need?
them.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna be looking for some hirees and some pay.
So I just want to clarify, I don't think you're actually talking about the firefighters, you're talking about the non-safety
The not
employees.
correct, the non-safeties, yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Is there anything in, the audience would like to see come up? Okay, we do have one, closed session. Are we gonna expect any announcements?
No.
No announcements? Okay, well, thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you next time. This meeting is adjourned.